So there's a home around the corner. I'm not gonna say whose it is, but it's at $1,350,000. And I looked at it, and I know the agent, and I'm like, huh. I go, what do you think about that list price? He goes, it's not that. So today I want to talk about what an appraiser is looking at when they're valuing your home. A high-end overview of what the biggest gear to turn when it comes to your home's value. What's the difference between a $1.8 million to $2 million home and a $3.2 million home when they're similar in square footage? Hi, I'm Andrew Diaz. I'm a real estate appraiser and agent. I've been a part of billions of dollars of valuation transaction as both an agent and an appraiser over the past 20 years here in Utah. When it comes to, I guess where my head's going right now is I want to talk about what's happening exactly when the appraiser comes to your house, because that's what's in my head right now. I have an appraisal after we do this. And especially on higher end homes, when you're looking at the difference between, say, here in Alpine, what's the difference between a $1.8 million to $2 million home and a $3.2 million home when they're similar in square footage? Yeah. So what happens, what's the appraiser looking at? Like, what's happening there? What are some of the metrics that make my home a $3+ million home or a $2 million home? $1 million is a big gap out here. So what's happening when we're looking at that? And some of the more dominant adjustments that we see when I'm out there and doing that are the quality of build. And I'll go deeper into that in a second. I just want to go through the list. Yeah. Quality of build, the lot, location, clearly, right? That's real estate. Location. But also the lot size. Okay. And I'll go deeper into that. So remind me of lot size, quality, lot size, and amenities. In the higher end home, so I'll start back to front. In a higher end home, your amenities, how I look at that is if you have a pool, since COVID, pools have gone from, say, within our market area, $10,000 to $20,000 adjustment, up to, in some cases, $100,000 adjustment. Really? Yeah. And the way and
that's just since COVID.
Yeah.
What did that?
The cost of pools has gone up. If anyone's put a pool in the last few years, they know. The cost of pools has gotten extreme. The quality of pool, that what it looks like has gone up. Okay. And the supply demand curve for having an amenity like that is through the roof. So I'll give you an example. There's if you're looking at a home and you guys want a pool, and the home has the pool, and I'm doing the appraisal on that. What I'm looking at is what is the market reaction to an amenity like a pool, or a similar amenity would be maybe an indoor tennis court or pickleball court, a barn. So some of these larger price point, maybe a detached ADU, that might be a little bit different because it's a square footage issue in living area, but what is the market reaction to an amenity of this size? Something that costs $100,000 to $250,000 to put in. What we look at is the percentage that somebody is willing to pay over and above list price for such an amenity. And then I will put that on the cost to build that amenity minus depreciation. So if you have a pool that costs $250,000, and the market reaction to said pool is, say, it used to be about a 10% market reaction. Now it's closer to 20%, 25% market reaction. Okay.
So instead of being 10% more likely to want to buy that house because of the pool, people are 25% more.
Yeah, and we can look at the statistical analysis of that, right? Yeah. And then we'll subtract depreciation on top of that. So now our adjustment is closer to, say, a $80,000 to $100,000 pool adjustment for having a pool and not having a pool. Okay. Now that's not as big of adjustment as, say, a lot. So if I'm looking at, so that'll bring me to number 2. If I'm looking at lot size and location.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, especially with a new construction build, I can find sales within those different subdivisions to make sure I'm looking at apples to apples.
Yeah.
And if I am, great. If I'm not, I have to do, this is going to blow your mind with this cool word I get to use.
Okay.
I get excited when it's exciting when I get to say it. Land side extraction method. So it sounds cool, right?
It sounds like you're going in with an excavator.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that. It's kind of what you do.
Okay, what do you
Basically, you take the cost of what your improvement is and erase it from the land. And now so it's a fancy way of saying I take what you have here and I remove it.
Yeah.
And that gives me an idea of what my land value is.
Okay.
Land side extraction.
Okay.
Okay. And then I will try to compare it through there.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more involved of a process, as you would imagine, but it could come out with some pretty good data points for me to at least know that I'm within a similar market segment. Here in Alpine, if you go over a half acre, you're in a different market segment. So homes that are an acre and above don't market the same as homes that are a half acre or below.
Okay.
At a significant level. It used to be because of land use. You used to be able to have animal rights.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a big deal. It still is a little bit, like if you have horse property and stuff like that. But more over the last 10 years, more importantly, is the size of your home build now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a larger platform to put down a bigger home. So you'll see sometimes in town on a half acre property, you'll have a 10,000 plus square foot home, and it's literally taken up every square foot of your lot. Like you have zero backyard, not much front yard, and just this big, huge house, okay? So that's gonna have an effect on a home that's also a 10,000 square foot lot that's on an acre.
Right.
Because now you have all of this utility.
Right.
So I try to stay away from comparing both of those homes toward each other because they're just not the same buyer.
Yeah.
Right? It's a different buyer pool. And you can see it in the value difference of those homes because a buyer would much rather pay, if they're in that $3 million range, they're going to pay for the one that's on the acre and not on the half acre.
Yeah.
So you see a market difference. So if you're on that half acre and you go, well, my neighbor sold for $3.5 million, and you look at all things being equal, the lot's probably significantly larger.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So that's one of the things in a higher end area that you're looking at. Even that's even more important, more so than say a view lot. I mean, yes, that comes into consideration, but only if you're comparing it to other half acre lots.
Right. What you can do with the lot that you're on is more important than the view that you're getting on the lot.
Because especially in Alpine, I mean, unless you're in the flat bottoms, I mean, everybody kind of has a pretty awesome view.
Yeah.
I mean, if I get up on the top of my roof, I got a pretty great view of the whole valley, you know?
Is that land, so the being able to use the land, is that as big of a multiplier when you're valuing it as something like having a pool? Because from my perspective, it's becoming really, really popular for people to want to have animals.
Yeah, so it's considerably more, we're going in, the reason I started back to front, we're going in the size of the adjustment from smallest to largest. So to answer your question, the land is going to be a higher value adjustment than having an amenity like a pool or a detached garage. And this goes to show you what I'm talking about with the land size. If I have an acre, I can put a barn.
Yeah.
I can put an ADU.
Yeah.
I can put a pool and still have space where we can hang out, and it's not like pool back fence. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you've got room for multiple things, not just...
Exactly. So you have a higher amount of amenities on a larger acre lot than you would on I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So those things need to be taken into consideration. And then the biggest adjustment is the quality of build. And you go, well, how do you... on $1 million plus kind of homes, how are you looking at quality of build versus like one home versus another? Like, what are some signs that I can look at that I could just, or that you could look at by looking at a house and go, how is that a higher quality of build than that house?
Yeah.
Because if you just drive by it, sometimes it's just like, well, that home looks like that home.
Right.
Or, ooh, that's a modern style.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that must be a high quality of build.
Right.
But I could tell you there's a good handful of homes up in Alpine that built the modern
The square
properties that honestly
which
just,
I like.
and some of them look like you put a bunch of Kleenex boxes over each other, and they really don't have an architectural value. Like I've shown, my best friend's an architect, and I'm like, hey, take a look at this, and he's like, that's not it, right?
It doesn't.
And he's building high end, like some of his projects are in Mocha down in LA. Like they're in art, art shows kind of a thing. And like he's looking at it going, yeah, that's not it.
That's not.
And so you have to have an appraiser or a realtor that understands the difference in quality that is being built there. So there's one telltale sign is how long did it take to build your home? Like there's a home I appraised up in Alpine that took 4 years to get finished.
Wow.
And there's one that's still being built now that's been going on for a while, and it's not a financing issue.
Mm-hmm.
It is because the level of construction going on in that property is through the roof, like Q1 level quality.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more and more of those in Alpine, by the way. Used to be like our highest level was Q2, but we've got some subdivisions now that are, there's not a Q2 home in the subdivision. They're all Q1.
Yeah.
Like Deer Valley, Park City level builds. And those take time to get finished because of the level of craftsmanship, the materials that are being used, the construction style, like steel beams throughout, it is a piece of art that these people are building.
I wish I could send that clip I got hired by a gentleman who was frustrated with how long his home was being taken to be built.
Mm-hmm.
The home was on Promontory in Park City, right on the Jack Nicklaus course.
Mm-hmm.
And he was frustrated with how long it was taking to be built. So he hired me to go and take photos just so that he could see a progress report. He was from out of state.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could send him that clip, that the longer your home takes to be built, the higher quality it's going to be.
Yeah.
These builders have a lot of pride in what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're not just
there's, especially in Park City, there are builders that's their only market they work in, and they're stacked busy for the next years because those are the homes that's where the money is right now. We're here in December of 2025, and the Park City market, the upper end Park City market has increased while the other market segments around here have decreased. Keep that in mind. So that should show you where the market's going. We see something similar in Alpine. The most of the property builds that are out here, the new construction builds, the vast outside of some of the townhomes that are going for $600,000 when they used to go for $3, you'll hear my snark in that, I'm sure. The majority of the builds are the higher end builds. Mm-hmm. And those people are busy because they put together good quality work. It will be interesting to see the resales on some of these. So I have a neighbor of mine, it's resold since, so I'm not telling tales out of the original builder, but I think it was probably about a $5 million cost to build.
Okay.
And I know for a fact right now that wouldn't, it's a 5-year-old property now. Mm-hmm. I don't see that selling for more than 3.2.
Okay.
So it's interesting how some of these are getting financed and finished, but boy, they sure are nice.
Yeah.
That home I'm talking about, the home that's a neighbor of mine, I remember the homeowner when it was getting built had them redo the entire front paver up to the front door because the pattern wasn't the correct way on these pavers. She wanted them going like this instead of like this, and they had to remove all of the pavers and redo the whole pavers. So it's an attention to detail.
Yeah.
And we'll go through some of our walkthroughs in the coming videos, and I'll point out some of the attention to detail to the higher quality rating on some of these homes. Mm-hmm. But that's the difference. And even from like a really nice, good quality home, which is a Q2 is in Alpine is a beautiful home. Great attention to detail, really good finish, very well engineered, right? You can tell a difference when you get inside of that property between a Q2 and a Q3. And that doesn't mean that the Q3 is bad. It doesn't mean that you live in a poor home.
No.
That's all BS. All it means is the engineering, the architecture, the craftsmanship, it is all finished at a higher level. One way to tell that we used to be able to tell back in the days when I first started doing valuations.
40 years ago.
In my younger days, when I didn't have as much gray hair in my beard, is looking at especially from an over-the-top view, but up front, look how many peaks and valleys you have in your roof line.
Okay.
Now that doesn't work for a modern home,
Sure.
but if you could look at the frontage of a property, like look at the peaks and valleys of your roof line. That'll give you a pretty good tell. And then the exterior pop outs and stuff like that. Like what is the entry to the property kind of look and feel like comparatively? And you that'll at least give you a little bit without having to go inside the home. If you're looking on Zillow or you're like your real estate agent sent you some homes and you want to be in a really high level home, or maybe you're looking at a value difference and you're like, well, how come this is listed at 1.8 and that other one you sold me is listed at 3.2?
Right.
You can kind of take a look there and see, because when I'm doing an adjustment and someone says, well, why didn't the appraiser use this home here? And then I take a look at that home and I go, oh, well, that's why. Because right. I mean, and then another thing I look at too, and you can do this at home as well. If you live in a place that has the data, and if you don't, give me a call and I'm happy to share with you, is I look at historical sales analysis. So if a home that has sold for in the 3 million, and I go back and like say 2 to 3 years ago, it sold at 2.5, 2.8, and the other home is say listed at 3 million, but then you go back at the same time period, or similar homes in that subdivision where we're selling at 1.5, well, then you know that that's probably not competing because it doesn't track and trend historically with our current home. So these are just small data points that you can look at and kind of be an appraiser at home and look at and go, hey, this is what I'm seeing.
Right.
So you can look at historical sales analysis, you can look at lot size, you can look at quality, and you can look at amenities and kind of see this at the upper end market segment. This is what I'd be looking at if I put my appraiser hat on.
Okay.
So hopefully that helps out.
Hopefully. And if it's not and you need a little bit more information, Andrew will do some virtual appraising help for you.
Yeah, I've done that throughout for clients in California, a few in Texas. So it's difficult not being there, but we have enough technology now that virtually we can get pretty close and answer any questions you might have about what your home would sell for. So I'm here for you. And
then if you're looking to sell your house, massive advantage working with Andrew is he is the realtor and the appraiser. We can do everything that needs to happen. We can get your home listed for the right price the first time.
Yeah, nothing better than getting it listed right the first time, so that it's not sitting on the market, depending on what market segment you're in. Like, unless you're in Park City, if you're listed incorrectly, I mean, there's a home right now around the corner from us, and this happens in Utah County. So if you're looking at a home, side note, I don't know, if we could put this in anywhere, but if you're looking at a home and you think like, wow, this fits me perfectly, but boy, this seems like it's at a higher price point than what it should be. Please call, because more often than not, there is a reason why. So there's a home around the corner. I'm not gonna say whose it is, but it's at $1,350,000. And I looked at it and I know the agent and I'm like, I go, what do you think about that list price? He goes, It's not that. He goes, I had a conversation with the seller, and the reason why is because his neighbor around the corner sold their home for $1,350,000 9 months ago, 9 to 12 months ago. Well, it's a new build. The guy bought the lot and put up a new home.
Yeah.
This guy's home is like a 07 build.
Yeah.
But boy, it's like, it's that ego thing that happens. And, you know, and God bless the agent. He told him, he gave him the data points, and he's like, yeah, let's just put it here for the next, you know, until the spring. Well, you're just giving yourself, you know, 90 to 120 days of on market time to give somebody like me the fuel to come in and go, here's where we'd want to put our price at, and here's why.
Yeah.
And you're going to find out real quick whether that guy's an actual seller or an ego seller.
Right.
And it just puts you in such a bad position. And I'm not willing to do that as a listing agent.
No.
I'm not willing to be the, hey, let's go see where we can get, where the market could get. I'll be aggressive.
Yeah.
But aggressive means I have data supporting my aggressiveness.
Yeah.
And if I don't, if the absorption rate, which, by the way, I want to do a video about absorption rate because it sounds scary, but it's really pretty basic information.
Tune in for that one.
If the absorption rate shows that we're not in any benefit by being super aggressive on the other side of where we should list, then I'm only harming you as your listing agent by putting it there. And I'm not willing to do that. That's to me, that just doesn't make sense. So I don't know if that will fit anywhere in our podcast here, but we should go over absorption rate. Basically, in a real quick back of the napkin is how many homes like our home we're looking at sell per month in our market segment. So I take a look at that. Let's say it's one home per month. Well, if there's 8 of those available, then how many months do we have?
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if my home's at $1,350,000 and from $1 million to $1.5 million, one home sells, and there's 15 homes available in the market area, now you've got a year and a half of inventory. So you better be really, really selective about where you're going to be putting that. Back in 2020, it was the other way around. I had 15 homes that were selling at $1 million to $1.5 million.
Yeah.
And when one hit, gone.
Yeah.
They were gone. Why? Because the absorption rate was almost zero, right?
Yeah.
So something to keep in mind when you're listing, it's not just some magic number that you get to come up with as a listing agent and a seller. Be really, really careful about the data you're looking at so that you're coming off with the most effective list price that you can be at so that you can sell your home if that's what you're looking to do. Okay.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thanks for joining.